Good evening, everyone. It's Shamila Ramjawan coming to you from the Red Corner Chat. This evening, we have the unstoppable Zambian-born South African explorer and mountaineer, Saray Khumalo. Welcome, Saray.
Thank you, Shamila. Thank you for having me. I don't know if I'm unstoppable, but I definitely like pushing boundaries.
And pushing boundaries is what you absolutely do and surprise us all, because we could never do that in our wildest dreams. Saray, born in Zambia, what was the reason for the move to South Africa?
Oh wow, that's a long journey. I obviously got married here, so that's why I moved and had my kids here, and now South African. Yeah, but Zambia. I actually was born in Zambia. Went to school in Zaire, which is the DRC. I did my first degree in Zimbabwe, so I'm really an African child. I've been everywhere. And absolutely love it. I'm a true African, I believe.
You are a true African. You are doing us proud. Do you want to tell me about your kids?
Oh yeah, I've got two boys. One is Azinkosi and the other one is Otatile. One is at varsity doing psychology and the other one is in grade 11, which is a bit of a challenge with, go to school, don't go to school, study at home. But it's been fun. I mean, being locked up with them and really getting to know each other differently, learning that they can cook, they can look after me, so I don't need to worry about a lot of things. It's been amazing and a blessing as well.
Wonderful. Tell me about your day job that you have. I know you have hectic training and you've got to prepare for your climbing, and you also have a day job. Do you want to maybe share that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm an executive at Momentum Multiply. I look after partner awards as well as e-commerce. That's deal negotiations, managing the partners, which has been interesting, especially during COVID and a lot of the partners' businesses being closed. But it's a lot of fun. I mean, I have a big team. I enjoy just interacting with my team and also just seeing people grow from what they couldn't believe they could do to being, amazing individuals that they are. So that's me at Momentum. I also have my personal coaching business, which really kickstarted during COVID, where I'm sort of using the systems and the methodologies and the tools that I used with Everest, especially after trying 4 times, to help other people reach their peak. And so that's an exciting thing that I'm doing on the side.
So just back to your employees, did you encourage and influence anybody into climbing mountains as yet?
Still getting to that. I think they've got their own mountains that they obviously are climbing. And one of the most interesting things is I used to say that the sky is the limit because that's what I grew up on. That's what my mother told my sisters and I. Then when I came back from Everest, I was like, no, team, the sky is not the limit. We can go further, so we need to aim higher. I definitely do push them. I enjoy seeing what people don't see in themselves and actually seeing them thrive in what they didn't think they could do and achieving it, that I enjoy quite a lot. I do have some people that never used to hike that are now hiking with me, but we still are in baby steps. I'm sure one day we'll probably climb together, maybe start with Kili or something.
So does your husband climb with you?
No, I'm a single mom, so I know.
Okay, so tell me, Saray, climbing mountains, to me it seems like a hobby because you're so passionate about it and you've tried so many times, 4 times before you eventually summited Mount Everest. How do you do it and what inspired you to actually start this challenging journey of climbing mountains?
Growing up, I was in a club called the Pathfinder Club, which is a church club, which is very similar to Scouts. And we did a lot of hiking and camping. And as I grew older, I went to varsity and had kids. I stopped doing that. Then at some point in 2009, I decided to go back to it. But what I found is when you say to parents, we're going camping, they're like, oh, do they have chalets? Do they have a pool? It was a whole different world compared to what I knew. But one of the things that happened to me in 96 is I went to the US for the first time, thinking, American were all clever and mighty. And I discovered that not necessarily, because they were asking me if I knew their friend in Nigeria and Ghana and whatever. Until one of them said to me, have you ever climbed Kilimanjaro? And when I said no, they really went to town about it. And I thought, that is my story. That is an African story that I should be telling. So Kilimanjaro made it on my bucket list. 2012, I had an opportunity to climb Kilimanjaro with 4 other people. And while we were preparing for it, we used to look after a home in Benoni, where every month we'd take the kids to go hiking. We'll take them to a restaurant to order, just teaching them etiquette and so forth. But every month we would go around the office asking for money, for people to help us with money so that we can bus them or we can do whatever. But there was donor fatigue. Every time you approach people's office, they're like, oh, there she comes. They pretend to be on the phone or whatever. So I said, why don't we use the climb to raise money? So we raised money for a home in Benoni called Kids Heaven. At the time, they looked after 180 to 200 street kids. We raised enough to build them an outdoor gym worth about 200,000 rands. And we also converted a room into a library for them because they needed a place to do their homework. And while we were handing over these things, one of the kids in the home came to me and asked whether I came from the township, So initially I thought it was a joke because these are kids that we hike with. And I realized she was serious, She said, no, people like us don't do things like this. That made me sad. As a mother of 2 boys, I wondered whether I was showing them enough that it didn't matter what they looked like, where they came from. They can do anything. They too can step on top of the world, So I made a conscious decision that I was going to step at the highest peak of every mountain on all 7 continents, but do it and raise money for education, because education is the equalizer. It's the one thing that's helped me be where I am. It's one investment that I'm so grateful for. And that's where the journey started. I mean, from 2013 to now, I've built 5 libraries. I've raised money for the Lunchbox Fund, Dr. Tandy Foundation, and I raised more now during COVID. I think it's been a blessing to just do what I love doing and making a difference that will change the narrative for the next generation of Africans. So yeah, exciting journey it's been.
Well done. We need more people like you to help the impoverished. I'm more interested in the climbing right now. Just back to the climbing. So avalanches, earthquakes, bad weather, but you still pursued your dream, or your dreams, I would say, of climbing Mount Everest, and you summited in, was it May 2019?
Yeah, May 2019. I always say that when you know your why, your how is easy, I think when this Kids Heaven story happened, I was searching for what is it that I needed to do. My grandfather always used to say that if you don't live a life of service, that's a life wasted, and for the longest time I was trying to search and this kid, her question that was just an aha moment, it shifted something in me. So going to climb has become more than just me getting onto the summit and taking a picture. It's bigger than me. It's my way of making a difference. I also believe that we drive on N1 every day, and some people don't come back home. They perish on N1, but we still drive. So just because something has happened in the mountain, it shouldn't stop me from doing what I need to do. I think a life wasted is a life that is lived without understanding its purpose, without having lived, they say, because even if I lock myself in my room, my time will still come. And it will be a tragedy if I haven't lived. So the reason for going back is just one of those things. It's the reason I go back and drive on N1. It's the reason we still have soccer matches at Ellis Park, despite the fact that some people never came back on that fateful day. So, 2014, 14 Sherpas died. That shook me a bit because I had all these romantic ideas about what climbing was about, and I had read about people dying on the mountain, about bodies on the mountain, but to actually see them, what was something else. It shook me quite a bit. And I saw people that were a lot more experienced than I am, afraid and running away from the mountain. It was almost a time to decide whether this is for me or this is not. And I made a decision that it was, I just needed to learn what I needed to learn from it, and go back and do it differently and do it a lot more cautiously, just like I drive a lot more carefully on N1 at certain points because I know that this is the danger zone, And also, I think it's also a blessing because in 2017, because of my experience in 2014 and 2015, I was able to, 99 meters from the top, to say, the mountain will be here, but my life is fragile. Let me go back and climb another day. So it's not really about being an adrenaline junkie or wanting to do dangerous stuff. Yes, it's pushing boundaries. It's also unacceptable that 66 years after the mountain was first climbed, nobody like me had done it. I think we cannot have stuff that is for a certain people and not for other people. The only way the next generation, black or white, of Africans are going to look at the world as a sea of opportunities is if you and I do something today to show them that there is no places that they can't go. The world is their oyster. And that is by actions. We celebrate this month because some women just had enough and walked on to the union buildings. What are they going to celebrate about you and I a few years from now? It's what we're doing. It's making sure there's representation where you are, where I am, so that they too can climb Everest faster, not having to try 4 times like I did, and climb it in style and not be looked at differently because they don't look the same as other people that are climbing, I think it's just important that, we don't all need to go and climb Everest, but we just need to make an impact that is sustainable for the next generation in whatever corner we are as a generation.
So Barbara Hillary, she was the first, was it African American that summited, and she was 79 years old? Is that correct?
No. So Hillary is summited in 1953. He's the first. He's the first person. Him and Tanzan, the Sherpa, were the first in 1954. The first Black American woman is Sophia, who summited. There is. I don't know if you mean the first woman. It's a
Yes.
Japanese woman. Yes, it's a Japanese. She's late now. I think she died last year.
Barbara Hillary. That's right. Yes.
Yeah, it's I just think that it's time we women, irrespective of color, did what they wanted to do, not because the norm says this is not for you and this is for you. I just think that that is a barrier that we as a generation have the power to break. I think it's important to, like everything else, the last generation got rid of apartheid. What is it that we are doing? I think its representation is important. It's me growing up as a kid watching superheroes and thinking, wow, they are epic, Wonder Woman and Superman and She-Ra, but they don't look like me. They don't talk like me. Maybe I can't be like that. It's like that child asking me, people like us don't do things like this. We can't have that, We are all equal and we can do what we want and when we want and how we want, as long as we are committed, and we should be judged by our capability and not what we look like, not the fact that we don't have enough testosterone, because the mountain is really a male-dominated area. So apart from fighting the fact that I don't look like everybody else, I have to fight the fact that I'm female. So it's crazy, and it can only change if somebody stands up. we are 50% in parliament because women stood up and say, enough is enough, let's go to the union building, And if you look at the world today, in terms of COVID-19, look at the countries that are being led by women, how well they've actually tackled the pandemic. The world needs women leaders. And it's just up to you and me to stand up in our corner and say, here we are, let's do this.
I love that. I simply love that. Yes, we have to do that, and we have to do it in unity as well. Saray, just back to being the first Black African. How did that make you feel? Not once, but twice. I mean, skiing to the South Pole as well. Just take me through that journey.
So I didn't know that no Black African female had summited Everest actually in 2013 until a friend of mine, Loazi, came to my office, and I argued with him. We Googled, and it's like, okay, yeah, you're actually right. It was humbling. It was humbling for many reasons in terms of Everest. A, because I had tried so many times. B, because I was told in my face that, I needed the man to take me there. And nobody like me had done it, so I wasn't able to do it. And I had invested so much, not just money, my time, my energy. And it was just really about saying there is no way in 2017, 2019, we still sit there and be told what we can and cannot do. Like that's just not right. It didn't sit very well with me. So it was humbling, but it was also a testament in saying, sometimes we think people have closed doors. When you look closely, they're just closing windows and leaving the gate wide open for us to walk in and be who we are, as long as we remain our authentic selves. I mentioned about being above the clouds. It's about my mother saying the sky is the limit. How wrong she was. I was standing above the skies. And this is me, and all the important people that I know around the world were beneath me. If I can do that, what can we do as people? It's about starting this journey saying, I'm just an ordinary African woman trying to reach extraordinary heights. And through the journey, realizing that, no, I'm extraordinary. And being ordinary is a choice, that we make every day. So I'm going to be deliberate in showing myself and the world how extraordinary I am. So moving on to the South Pole, that was that was interesting. I was a little bit complacent, like, if I've done Everest, how bad can the South Pole be? I got there and it's 24 hours sunlight. That's the first thing. Initially, excitement, because I remember my grandmother singing that there will be no night there in heaven. And I'm thinking, this is heaven on earth, right? There's no darkness. On the third day, I'm like, I kind of need some darkness to be able to control my sleep. And the other thing that's interesting about, and really I have a lot of respect for polar expeditionists, on Everest, you can see the rock and you aim to it and you get there, there's a sense of satisfaction. I got to Camp 1, On the South Pole, on your way to the South Pole, you look to the back and you look to the front, everything is flat, everything looks the same, the sky looks the same. You start wondering, on the 6th day, I started wondering, are we really going in the right direction? Because the only thing to tell you where you are is your compass, And we all started wondering, like, are our compasses the same? And then the closer you get to the South Pole, it starts, messing with you because it's closer to the pole. So and also the winds are beating you from everywhere. The temperatures were as cold as -50, and you constantly have to be walking. Everything you need, everything you need to eat, or even your waste you carry on your own. You pull in a sledge about 75 kilograms, like every day. And if you stop for more than 10 minutes, you risk freezing. So you have to be walking and walk for an hour, stop for 10 minutes. By the 11th minute, walk again. That's like Everest has nothing on the South Pole. So a lot of respect for that. But it was done. And, like Mandela says, it always seems impossible until it's done.
Absolutely. Well done. Congratulations. Take me through your training and your diet. Do you have a special diet? Do you have this hectic training before climbing the mountains? What do you actually do? How much training do you do?
So I train quite a bit if before expeditions. I train in the morning and in the evening. In terms of that, I try and eat. I don't eat too badly, but I also try and eat whatever I want to eat because I train hard anyway. I also then do long hikes during the weekend or a run. I used to cycle. I don't cycle anymore, so I've got a spinning bike that I bought recently because of the gyms closing. But it's really about discipline. And with the South Pole, I started pulling tires because you pull a sledge, you ski with a sledge. So I was pulling tires for a bit. And yeah, it's really about discipline and making sure you've got the right amount of cardio and strength training. And you train for every mountain differently. So if I'm going to the South Pole, I know I'm going to pull a sledge, then I know that I need to be pulling tires. It needs to be this much weight, based on how much weight I'll be carrying. What I didn't do though, which on hindsight, probably I should have done, is pull that tire for between 5 to 6 hours. Because when you're out there, you're pulling it. I mean, the longest we pulled the tire was about 13 hours. And I didn't train pulling the tire for 13 hours, So yeah, it's actually after a while, it becomes a lifestyle, to just keep fit, and you feel that there's something wrong if you don't train. But it's really not, you do strength, you do cardio. I'm not great at stretching. I should be doing a lot of yoga because I see people that do yoga a lot more flexible. But it's really mixing it up. It's also important for me that it's not boring, not the same thing. But I also have a biokineticist that I work with twice a week. And that keeps me honest.
So, Saray, what was your worst moment climbing Mount Everest?
It's 2017 when I lost consciousness. After fighting at the Ministry of Sports to say, how can you not fund us? And I go there to prove a point, and I find myself, waking up. I had lost consciousness, and I was just not in a state to continue. And looking back, and I had spent at that time quite a lot of money because all my climbs were self-funded, and wondering whether the people that were saying I couldn't do it were right. I think that was the lowest point for me, when you start thinking the naysayers, maybe they were right, maybe I was wrong in saying that I can. I think that was the lowest point.
So do you feel that was the reason why you actually went back to prove a point to everyone, to say that you can do it?
No, not everyone. There's a very nice book that I read, which is not the Bible, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. No, it's not about
that book as well. Yes.
I think actually when I came back, even though I didn't tell anybody that I had given up, inside I kind of had. I sent out over 200 proposals asking for funding, and I didn't get funding. When I came back after 2017, I didn't bother asking anybody for funding, but inside I probably had given up. So my younger son, he was 15 at the time, he came and found me sitting in the lounge and said to me, "Mom, when are you going back? Not are you going back? When are you going back?" So because for him, it was unthinkable that I would give up. Every time he loses a soccer game, I say, "Go back." So for him, it's like, hey, what is this woman cooking up in her head? When is she going back? So that kind of made me feel so hypocritical to say, I tell him not to give up, but inside I have, even though I haven't verbalized it. And I went to prove to myself, it really was about me. And I used all the learnings from 2014, 2015, and 2017 to do things differently. I think a level of maturity had also, in terms of climbing, come into play. And I feel very blessed and grateful that I made that decision to go back.
Wonderful. Well done. So, Saray, which was your best moment? Was it Mount Everest?
um, Everest was bittersweet. Yes, I did summit, but when coming down, I don't know if you're following the climb, we lost one of our teammates. I remember when we were coming down, none of us even thinking did we summit until we got to Camp 2 and somebody says, "Oh, Sarah, congratulations." And I got confused. What is he talking about? And then I realized, oh, we just summited. And I just cried because I wasn't sure, is that something we should be celebrating? We don't know where one of the team members are. So it was bittersweet. I think it's really coming home and seeing people that didn't think I could, that had lost hope, celebrating with me. It's seeing how my journey has inspired other people to go for their own Everest. That for me is like epic. It's really saying that has actually prompted at least one person to get into gear and leave the world better than we found it. I think it's that movement of we can do it. It doesn't matter where we are. It doesn't matter who we are. We can. And I think for me, that is like, yeah, it's just dear to my heart. It continues to happen every day as I interact with people, and I'm grateful for that.
So, the first Black African woman to summit Mount Everest and to ski to the South Pole.
Yeah.
All these accolades, and there's going to be so many more to come. Anything stands out for you?
I think the accolades are great. I think they open doors. They get people to listen to me, I suppose. But I think the power of it for me is representation. It is to say to the next generation they can do better. The obstacles are not there. It's not about the mountain has never been done by somebody like you. It can be done. Do it better. And I think it's my small contribution to that narrative to say it's possible. I don't know if you were following Black Panther, the movie.
Yes.
I think Black kids that saw that, it just changed something. It's not Wonder Woman and Superman that I grew up in. They can see themselves being superhero. That message of representation is not to be underestimated. And I feel so privileged, but I know that it comes with a lot of responsibility, because then what do I do with this? That says I am an example, and I'm one of the people that have said this is possible. It's like what Casta is doing on the trail. It says, so what if I'm from Limpopo? I can actually compete with the best in the world, It's like Sia. I just think there is power in that we can use these people to motivate the younger generation to do better, to go further, and put Africa on the map.
I'm absolutely proud of you, Caster, Dr. Tlaleng, because the other day I tagged all of you on that Woman 24 post.
Yeah. Yes.
And I've asked you, I think a few weeks ago, to join me on my chat, and the humble Saray said, yes, sure, no problem, and I thought, oh my God, this celebrity is coming on my show. Thank you so much for that.
No, thank you. I'm not a celebrity. It's just me, yeah. But thank you for inviting me. It's such an honor. You're doing an amazing job. And I wish you like many years to come, many more episodes, and hope that you're able to open up doors for many other women and like-minded people to make a difference.
Absolutely. That is the intention. I'm looking forward to that journey as well. Saray, it's Women's Month. Just a message to the women out there globally.
Yes. I think to all the women out there, you've got this. Like I said, you are extraordinary, and being ordinary is a choice. The world needs us, to contribute to the leadership. The world needs us. We are amazing at multitasking. We carry them for 9 months. We look after them when they are young. We can shape the future for not just the girl child, but the boy child too. and we need to take that leadership role and not be apologetic about it. I'm involved in a campaign that says she owns her success. Be proud of your success. Allow other women to be proud of their successes. Celebrate with them so that we can go out there and make the world better. They need us, and we are here.
I actually love that she owns her success, because I've been nominated as one of the women-owned businesses to get involved in that initiative, which is happening this week. So yes, I own my success.
Absolutely, and I celebrate with you. You know, that's what it's about, and we shouldn't be apologetic about our successes. You know, my own example, after attempting 3 times, we never said, oh, shame, you didn't make it. It was okay for people to remind me over and over, and I have to explain it. Then I succeed, like celebrate, but not too much. Well, yeah, we've talked about, like, no, allow me to celebrate, because it liberates other women around me to celebrate their successes, because that's what boys do, and we allow that. Why can't we encourage our baby girls to actually celebrate their successes, because they can then aim for more and more, and the world will be better for it.
I love those words. I simply love that. Saray, any of your sponsors that stands out for you? Do you want to maybe send a thank you message?
Yes, Momentum has been amazing and partnered with me. They are partnering with me to complete the Explorer Grand Slam. So that's the 7 highest peaks on 7 continents, the North Pole and the South Pole. And there are only 67 people in the world that have done that. So I'm very grateful for that. I've also partnered with iSchool Africa. That is a charity. What they're doing is they're helping matriculants during this time of COVID, where kids are not in school, they're in school. They'll go to a school, especially primary schools, and put in a library with iPads and e-learning on there to help schools in underprivileged areas. So I'm very humbled to be part of that. And I just believe that education is the equalizer. It is the equalizer, and we need to teach the next generation to fish so that they can compete at a global level and not give them fish continuously.
That is wonderful. Saray, you're doing quite a lot, and I love the fact that you are being in the community development and just making such a huge impact in the lives of the school kids out there. Well done on that, and just, keep with it and raising funds and making a difference, because I think, if all of us can just contribute a little bit, it will make a huge impact in the country.
Thank you. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I think time to wait for other people to make a difference is gone. We are the other people, and we need to do a little bit in our corner, and as a collective, the impact will be amazing.
So my next burning question is, when is the next climb?
Oh, let's see what COVID dictates. I was meant to go to the North Pole in April, and that's been moved. I think with the president's announcement recently, we'll see what's happening in other countries. The challenge is, if you fly somewhere and they quarantine you for 14 days, it's complicated. So for now, I'm just playing it by ear. I think safety first. There is no hurry. My partnership with Momentum is for the next 3 years. So I've got the next 3 years to do what I need to do. I think I'm going to play it safe rather than risk, infecting other people or infecting myself in the process.
Well, thank you, Momentum, for elevating just not women-owned businesses, but businesses across the country. Such amazing work to actually contribute to our success. I'm so grateful for everything that Momentum has done for me as well. Saray, your last words in closing?
First of all, congratulations to you on an amazing show. And to the women out there, you can do this. This is your time. We're all made for this time. We need to stand up and shine and show our extraordinary self to the world and make a difference that is needed. In future, they must read about us as well as the women of 1956.
We are going to end with those magic words. Thank you, Saray, for coming on to the show, and all the best for the future.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you, you too. Bye.